Welcome to Defence Connects, The Progress Report, the show spotlighting the women shaping Australia's defence and national security.
Welcome to Defence Connects, The Progress Report, the podcast where we explore the stories, careers and experiences of women working across Australia's defence and national security sectors. I'm your host, Tash Taylor, and in each episode I'm sitting down with industry professionals to talk about their journeys, personal growth, mentorship, and what it really takes to build a meaningful career in one of the country's most complex and essential industries. Today's episode is a very special one and one that holds deep meaning beyond our usual conversations. I feel truly honoured to be joined by three remarkable women whose lives are forever connected through shared loss and resilience. So each of them is a war widow, and together they are dedicated members of the Families of Veterans Guild, carrying forward a legacy of strength, community and support. So with me today are Jenny Ware, Lynn Boyd and Wendy McKean. It's lovely to have you all. I'm so honoured to have you all on the podcast today. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
That's all right. Look, it means so much that you guys have given up your time to be here. And I would like to let the audience know that we were meant to have an incredible fourth woman join us on the podcast today, 97-year-old Mary Palaframan, who I think she met her husband in World War II, who sadly passed away in 1993. And Mary's an incredible advocate for the war widows. And although I've not met her personally, I have been told that she is absolutely hilarious and hilarious and a beautiful person. So unfortunately, Mary was unable to make it because she is quite unwell. But I would love for the three of you to tell us a little bit more about Mary and your beautiful friendship.
Okay. I met Mary 20 years ago when I first became a war widow at the City Saturday, and we've formed a very strong friendship since. And I have a lot to do with her. I'll take her home after our meetings, and if she has anything on, she invites me to go as well, which I most definitely do. And after the meeting, I always go home and pick my puppy dog up because it gives her a bit of time to be with her, and they sit in the back seat together and cuddle up on the way home.
Beautiful.
It is lovely. It is. And she is the most wonderful lady, and she's so strong and so chirpy and so naughty. And I have to bully her sometimes, and I'll say, "Oh, how about we'll do this, Mary?" She'll, "Oh no, I don't." I said, "Don't be so darn stupid. You're coming. That's all there is to it." "Oh, okay, Lynn, off." And I'll go. So she's been on her own. She was an only child. She only had one child, and her son died about 8 years ago. So she's very, very strong, and she had a great friend of her cat, and she's just had to put her cat to sleep, which she's had the most terrible year. It's just terrible for her. So, but she's strong. She's a tough old bird, and I'm going to see her tomorrow.
And I think it's lovely that you guys have still come along today and you're still doing this for her as well. And I know she's probably going to be very proud of you all.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get really stuck into her. When I see her tomorrow, I say, "Right, Mary, you'll do anything just to get it." She doesn't like to do things. So to get out of the AGM and the podcast, you had to throw this, you know.
She sounds like such a character.
Oh, she is.
Hopefully I'll get to meet her at some point.
I hope so.
And look, there's one other person that I wanted to quickly mention as well. So there was another amazing woman that you were all really close to, Dawn Welfare. And I know that she was also very involved in the community. So I thought we could spend a second as well with you guys mentioning Dawn.
Oh, well, once again, I've known Dawn for 20 years, and we all belonged to the City Saturday Club. So when, all of these things were happening, they were the two perfect people, Mary and Dawn. And we spent a lot of time together. She was a quiet, unassuming, lovely lady, and you know, she passed away very, very quickly. I went down on the Friday and we went out for lunch and spent a few hours together, and she was absolutely fine, and the next Thursday she'd passed away. So it was a real shock.
Yep.
And she was a quiet, gentle, beautiful, very, you know, and we were all so close. That's the main thing. We were all so close.
Very sorry for your loss. I know that the lovely Renee and the women told me about you guys have had such a beautiful, strong connection. You had some beautiful videos that were filmed almost a year ago where all of you were in it, which honestly I started crying when I watched them. So wouldn't be surprised if there's a few tears today as well.
Right.
But look, for everyone that's listening, we're releasing this podcast in time for War Widows Day, and that's on the 19th of October. And it's a time to recognise and honour the sacrifices of war widows and widowers in Australia. And for anyone that's seeing the filmed version of this, we have some beautiful wattles over here, which are the symbol for War Widows Day. It's an emblem of resilience, strength, remembrance and reflection, which is very much qualities of women like yourselves, very strong war widows, and you guys are resilient. You have so much strength, and that's why I'm so honoured to have you guys here today to chat with me. So I think I'd love to jump right in and just ask, what does War Widows Day mean to each of you personally?
I'm happy to start that one. I feel War Widows Day was picked on the 19th of October. My husband passed away on the 18th of October 9 years ago, and for me, very selfishly, I feel that's why that date was chosen. So I had the 18th to get all the tears and the whatever, and the 19th to spend with these beautiful friends that have gone through, we've all gone through the same in one way or another, different ways and different, we bring huge differences to our group. War Widows Day is a wonderful day to celebrate and to remember those of us that have gone. I mean, we all know we're all on borrowed time, we're all going to go eventually, and I say that not in a sad way. So celebrate what we have and what we found.
Yeah,
I couldn't have got through my years without these women. I couldn't.
because you have these beautiful friendships. I can tell you're also, you could just see the connection here between you all, and you beforehand you're all joking away, and I can see you're all just best friends at the end of the day.
There's stories we could never tell you.
Not on the podcast, maybe after. And what about for you two lovely ladies? What does it mean to you both?
Well, to me, it sort of reminds us of how lucky we were in this community to have such a strong person as Jessie Vasey to pick up the reins and go ahead. And what she did for the widows back in the day was remarkable. And I was reminded of this yesterday at our AGM when it was Stuart Clark, his widow. They said that his grandfather was a doctor and died from the gas, and they were just left. They had a lovely home in the eastern suburbs, and they were just left with nothing. And because of Jessie Vasey and the advocacy she did, and how she just pounded and pounded politicians to get us up to a living wage that we could work with and help. And the fact that we're all there together and there's strength in the group of us. We know that we're not alone, and the isolation that we may have felt, if we come together on that, kind of goes, and you sort of think, well, gee, I'm not the only one in this situation. So there's a lot of layers to War Widows Day, the importance of it and that type of thing.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I guess Jessie and herself started paving the way for women like yourselves to then sort of pick it up and keep, you know, developing all the help that you guys have been offering to war widows?
Yes, she advocated for everything. It started off with just a group doing craft, and she realised how poverty-stricken these mothers were trying to bring up children with less than the basic wage for support. And wasn't a remarkable woman. Remarkable. Well, I didn't know her, but but to read her book and to see to the people that she had, like we're in a very comfortable position now because of her. Which, you know, we've lost our husbands, which we'd give up everything to have them back again. But we're in a very fortunate position, and I think we can pin a lot of it. And the people that have carried that torch on since her, and there's been wonderful advocates that advocate for us. You can't do it yourself. One person can't advocate, but as a group, and especially if you've got a group and you've got a leader who trained in it and knows the ropes and knows, yes, you'll get results. But just as a single person, you've got no hope.
Yeah, and as a group, you can make a change.
Yeah, your collective voice, and you've got a bit of strength there, and you know, like now, they're advocating, like they keep advocating for us, which is great. But you know, our needs change and things change, and so they're on top of that.
Yeah.
And if some of the benefits drop, like they tried to very quietly drop our train benefit, which was very small, but you know, we're onto it. Yeah. And I couldn't do it, but you know, you put that forward, and as a group it can, and we got it back again. Yeah. That was nothing to do with the question.
No, that was a beautiful answer. Don't you worry about that. No, that was a beautiful answer.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, War Widows Day means a lot. We get there together, and you mightn't have seen anyone for the last year or for quite a few months, and it's as though you've seen each other last week or whatever, and there's just a great bond between us. And as Wendy said, when my husband died, I didn't expect that it would happen as quickly as it did, and I was absolutely shattered. And the main thing that I feel, and I actually felt it a couple of weeks ago, I went somewhere and I felt, oh, that's right, I went on a cruise with my family, and I felt for the first time, for a long, long time, I felt I was alone. And that's the thing that has gone with me now, with all my friends from the War Widows, that I don't feel alone because we all stick together. And that's very important. And you know, when my husband died, people say, oh, you know, you must be lonely. I said, no, I am not lonely, but I'm alone. And that's a very, a different word, a different meaning. And I don't feel that because I have the support of all of the ladies.
I think, and that's actually sort of something I really wanted to ask you guys is, you know, although you've lost your husbands, and, you know, with things like War Widows Day, does gathering with the rest of the community and all the other war widows, does that help strengthen the sense of community and support you all have?
Definitely.
Yes. You realise that you're not on this journey alone. You realise that there are other people with you. And whereas if you stay at home isolated, you tend to dwell on how rotten your life is. But once you get out, and you realise, what, you know, okay, everybody's in the same boat, and together we it's more than just support. It's like a family, you know, where we feel safe and secure, and where we can talk about things, and we know what we say won't be judged, and we know that whatever we say will be kept safe. It won't be spread around. And we know that the people around us in this particular group, apart from, I've got other social friends too, but in this group, I feel that people get it, if you know what I mean. They just get it, and you do feel, it's a sort of a like being in a family. Whereas
It is a big
we have
family.
there's a few
isn't it?
little, like a family. You have disagreements and that, but you protect each other, and it's more than just a support group. It's a family.
And you love each other and you have all the quirks of a family, don't you?
Yeah, that's just right.
And we can tell each other off without any
Oh,
judgment.
yeah.
No judgment. There's no, Lynn's taught me, you've not been successful. Lynn's tried to teach me not to swear. So over a 9-year period, I'm so proud now. Lynn can swear a little bit. So I
rubbed
feel
You've balanced yourselves out,
we
haven't you?
we share our talents, and it seriously, I could not manage. I honestly, hand on heart, I wouldn't have survived without not being overly dramatic. I wouldn't have.
And I think that, and it's brought out. Well, for me, it's brought out a lot of skills and talents that I really didn't think I had, because when I left the workforce when my son was born. So in that time, in that 40 years, boom, the computer revolution came. So I had no concept of computers and that. But, I went to the Young Widows group, and the coordinator needed somebody to do the minutes. And I just, as an aside, as I was leaving, I kind of said, oh, look, if nobody puts their hand up, I'll give it a go. Well, that was the beginning. And I mean, this person has guided me and mentored me, and she's put up. But I feel that I've developed a lot of skills that I didn't have
That's
before.
brilliant to hear. That's something I wouldn't have even thought to ask. So you've learnt a lot off each other as well.
Well,
I'm
yes.
sure.
I mean, this person's particularly patient and kind, and she sort of had to be too. But we've now developed a wonderful relationship. And, well, I feel personally, from my point of view, I've developed a lot of skills and confidence, I suppose, more than anything, confidence that I didn't have. And
Which is wonderful.
yeah,
Wonderful.
and of course, do you want me to go on?
Wendy was for our Build a Remembrance service,
I
not
know.
this year, last year.
I
Wendy
know.
was the MC.
And so that's another point in case of the War Widows, that I was asked to do the emceeing, and I just kind of thought, there's no way I could do this. I just don't have that ability. And I rang up the coordinator, who's a very good friend, and she said to me, Wendy, she said, if you don't do this, you will regret it for the rest of your life. And I said, oh, okay then. So I had incredible support from the War Widows group, Caroline in particular, and incredible support. And I got through it. And that was a massive milestone in my life, because I have never done anything like that. I mean, I couldn't, to get up and carry that out. I mean, I got through it and, it didn't fall apart. But to me personally, it was a huge milestone. And
that's wonderful.
Given me a lot of self-confidence.
Look, I would be terrified to MC an event. I don't know why you're scared about the podcast.
She was outstanding. Honestly, she
Yep.
did a brilliant job. We're all saying, where did this come from? Very
That's
much.
incredible.
Yeah.
And look at, so you're doing, like speaking to everyone. That's, doing that in front of a big group of people is terrifying for anyone.
whole
I think
full
that's
church.
just wonderful. And you're a very confident speaker. I can tell why they asked you to do it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No. But I suppose if you're given the opportunity, I would never have had the opportunity, and I will forever be grateful that they offered it to me. And then you think, well, if you have to get up and speak somewhere else, you think, oh well, yeah.
Done it before. Exactly. And I'm sure you're very proud of yourself for doing it. And now we're going to have to get opportunities for all of you to be doing things like this, aren't we?
No.
And look, something I would thought I'd love to ask you all is we often hear a lot about the service and sacrifices of service members, but families remember their loved ones for who they were because they were your loved ones. You know, their brothers and sisters and partners. And I'd love to hear a little bit about each of your husbands because I know that you obviously love them so much. So I'd love to hear, how did you meet? Tell me a little bit about each of them.
You go first.
Want me to go first? I met my husband was drop dead gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. He was the first intake of Royal Australian Navy submariners before the submarines arrived in Australia to go over and do 3 years plus training in the UK. I come from a fairly Navy area in the UK. Obviously, I'm a POM. And I met him, group of friends of mine, Navy and their wives, said, we've got this dinky-die Aussie doing his training on board. Maybe you could come along and fill a bit of a gap, and he's quite nice. And so I met this gorgeous guy, and yeah, he was beautiful, but he said, I went to get up to go and pay for a round of drinks, which is, I was only young. I was just turned 18 when I met Cole, and I went to go to the bar and do my round, and he said, excuse me, Sheila's don't buy a round of drinks where I come from. I said, my name's not Sheila. I was being educated by an Australian, and he honestly, it was for me, I think him as well, it was almost instant.
Love
I
at first
married
sight.
him in the UK and left all my family over there. So I was only 20 when I arrived here.
Wow.
And I had I had a beautiful marriage, 2 boys born one while he was away. And I learnt to be self-sufficient, get a job, bring up children, worked from when my kids were little. And all the time was always, we travelled for holidays. We took the mickey out of him. He was brilliant at his career, brilliant, but he couldn't hold a screwdriver properly. So his nickname from the kids was Handy Dan. Oh, Ma, get Handy Dan on it. But it was, I just thought we'd both go together at the same time. And I was very lucky. I consider I was lucky because I had 50 years of marriage when Cole died, a long illness caused from his service time. But I'm hugely, hugely proud of who he was, what he did. And I think that carries me forward now. I get angry when I see old couples together, and I think that's not fair. You know, you see them in a cafe having a coffee, and I want to go over and steal their biscuits. No, so you can't. Why have you still got? But you know, you've got to be grateful. However short a time you had, or long, if you're with the right person, you live on those memories forever. They're the things that. Plus, my 2 sons are rat bags, and they keep me going. One served in the Navy as well, and humour and gratitude, just gratitude for what we have. Honestly, we're so well looked after by the office. I drive them mad. I know I do, but I think between us, we do, don't we? Drive each other mad.
No, not really.
And it is. It's just...
Yeah, we've got a very strong friendship.
The friendships. I've got her key. I don't think I'm supposed to tell anyone that, am I? Cut that bit out.
That's fine.
I've got a key to the front door, and if I'm ever, about to jump off a very low, because I don't like heights, a very low building, I'm to go to Lynn's.
And drown in thy pool.
I'm drowned in your pool. because I can't swim.
And I also share my grandsons
Oh,
with
she
you.
does.
My
She
grandchildren.
does.
Oh,
She
beautiful.
does. So it's just very hard to,
And I can only imagine how hard it is to have to live without your best friend.
But when you've had this gorgeous hunk of Aussiness in your world, you know, for me that is, how lucky was I? A lot of people
Never had that.
never have that. So, yeah. Thank you.
I've already started tearing up. I'm not going to last to do the podcast.
Jennifer Collins has already told me I'm not to cry.
Oh, it's okay. I'm started crying, so you can cry away.
Hanky's
You
put
go,
away.
Maggie. You go next.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, my story's quite a lot different because I was quite older in those days. In those days, most people were married in their early 20s, so I was quite the exception. So to everybody in my life, I was well and truly on the shelf. You know, when poor Wendy will never get married. But that's right. And then a friend that I worked with, her husband was in the Navy, and she said, "Would you like to come to a dining-in night?" I said, "Oh yeah, if I have to." I said, "Yeah, okay." So anyway, that's where I met Vic. Vic, it was an Air Force. It was a joint Navy Air Force base, and we went to a dining-in night, and Vic was in their formal, you know, dinner jackets, you know, the uniform. I think it was uniform, but of course,
very handsome uniform.
Unfortunately, you know, you don't realise that the uniform comes off. But
Woohoo!
and of course, and Vic was quite a bit older too. Vic was older than me, so he'd led this, you know, fancy-free service life, you know, kicking up his heels, and I had led a sort of a fairly fancy, because it was sort of the days of Germaine Greer and, you know, women do their own thing, and I'd led that sort of a life too. So we met, and we clicked, but there was a lot of adjustment on both our parts after these sort of separate lives. But yeah. It was a great life, and you know, I certainly have no regrets, and I have one son, and sadly, and I've sort of really never dwell on this really, but sadly, you know, I had a number of miscarriages after Greg, and we both of us think that was due to the chemicals and everything that he was exposed to in Vietnam. So. But, you know, that it is what it is. My doctor said to me, "Mrs. McKean, you know, you have one perfect son. You have to be very grateful for that." And I've always taken that approach. But military life does have a lot of consequences on people and families. And it's very hard for them to come out of the role as in the service. And, you know, Vic was pretty tough on Greg, you know, because it's just the way that he was, and he expected that ship shape, and unfortunately sort of Greg is like him, strong-minded too.
But it heads a little bit.
But it heads quite a bit. But you know, Greg, you know, that's just what it is, isn't it? Yeah. So so he the military certainly did have an impact on his life, on his health, but he would have had no regrets if he did had his life over again. He would have done it all. He would have done it again because the Air Force to Vic was his family. You know, it really was the most important part of his life. Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, because
absolutely wonderful.
He had a tough life, and he didn't have a good education. He was smart, but without being educated. And the Air Force gave him that discipline that he needed. But he was still like a bit of a rascal. Well, rascal's a nice word.
A bit of a rascal.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think that's probably why the three of us get along, because all of our husbands were rascals.
It sounds like it, cheeky boys.
Yeah, cheeky.
I think 90% in the forces are.
I think they're rat bags. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I met my husband when I was 17 and he was 20, and then he was a conscript and went to Vietnam during that not for 2 years, but during that time. And then we were married when he came back in 1969. And he was a real Aussie. He was a real Ocker. His real name was Arthur Boyd. But everyone called him Chicka. He referred to himself as Chicka or Chick or whatever. And people, when they say, oh, what's your name? It's Arthur Boyd. You say, yeah, I'm an artist, but I'm a bullshit artist. And that was Chicka. That was him. Oh. He was always the same. And and when Arthur Boyd got the Australian of the Year, Chicka was home painting the kitchen. And that's the honest truth. That was what he was doing the day he was, and he said, oh, I'm the Australian of the Year. But anyhow, we were just happy to live our life. We had we didn't have any children we were married for 7 years before we had any children, because there was a lot of adjustment. Yep. Of him coming back from Vietnam, and he was just a foot slogger, and out there in the jungle for that, and it took a long time to sort of you didn't know it. We didn't know any different. That was how it was, and now I reflect upon how the other wars the people have been affected, but of course they didn't get the acknowledgement that they did for how it affected them, how it affected these people, the soldiers. But anyhow, he got esophageal cancer, and they couldn't decide what kind of cancer it was. They'd sent the pathology all over the world, and within 5 months he'd passed away. And it was just, I'd say, in his body, looking around, and because we live at Rose Hill, and he used to say, when I die, I want my ashes sprinkled on Rose Hill Racecourse, because then the horses can shit on me forever, like they did every fortnight because they used to go to the races every fortnight. Yeah. So, he's and that's what happened. My son arranged it. We all went over and had quite a nice ceremony, and everybody said things, and his ashes. So when they were, thinking about getting Rose Hill Racecourse, I was going to go over and dig up the finish line, bring him home. So
that's wonderful. All of your stories of your husband is just beautiful. Sounds like they're all very, very cheeky boys, very funny, but it also sounds like you just had beautiful relationships that you wouldn't have changed for the world, which is just wonderful. And look, something I'm sure you guys can give some beautiful insight into this is, I'm sure that all of you would have had to have dealt with them being away for long periods of time due to their service commitments. And I'd love to know how you navigated those times with balancing family life, like you said, because I'm sure that there wasn't all of the, we talked about this in our previous podcast with the Family of Veterans Guild. There wasn't all these support programs that you guys are fighting for now. What was that like for you?
A struggle.
Yeah.
It was a struggle. I've always loved writing, so for me, a lot of mine was writing while he was away. But the hardest bit was falling pregnant. I wasn't sure I wanted children, and I'm so pleased that we did, and they weren't accidents, they were planned. But Colin was going away for 4 months, and I was due to go into hospital to have our first child. No parents here, no support other than a couple of Navy wives that I'd met. And I was treated with disdain at the hospital when I went in. I had to ask a neighbour, would you mind running me up to the hospital? I've got my little bag and I'm ready to go. And they thought I was a single mother, so I got treated with absolute disdain by the nursing staff, which was very hard, very hard. And I'd watch other dads coming in and new babies. Luckily, they lost, I probably shouldn't say this, they actually lost a torpedo off of Jervis Bay on the way off to where they were going. So the submarine had to come back to Sydney. So Colin actually saw our son before I saw him. The captain sent him quick, you know, in a cab, sent him off to meet his, the message had gone through. My husband was a communicator, so he'd received the Morse code, dicks, what have you. You have, your wife's given birth, and he was able to get there. He saw Paul before I did, and he had to leave an hour later to go back to see with me, like this dramatic drooping thing hanging on to him, saying, please don't go and leave me here. No, and off he went. But I was treated with respect after that, so it worked out well, because then they realised, oh my gosh. That for me was probably the hardest thing. And then the children, he'd come and go. Obviously, they were away for months at a time. Being submarines, you didn't know where they were going, when they were coming back, or what they were doing. That was what life was. But again, I'd met by then beautiful Navy wives in our housing patch, and so I'm godmother to a couple of their children that are now grown up with kids of their own. I've had amazing support through my world, and I'm grateful.
I couldn't imagine having to give birth and then your husband's off and then you don't have this, and your family being overseas. It just takes absolute strength and resilience to actually be able to do that.
But I was 23 then, so
23?
I was a bit older.
You're a baby.
I was a bit able to manage by then. But I think they're the things that add all those things together, they built my resilience. And I've got a weird sense of humour, which has helped me hugely. Upsets probably everyone else, but it helps me. So, yeah, that and swearing.
That's okay. Everyone lets out a swear word every now and then.
And champagne.
And champagne. There you go.
So, yeah, that's probably my hardest story.
Yeah, well, our stories don't come anywhere near that. I mean,
No.
Vic was in the Air Force, but they didn't go away. And I think Greg was like one when he got out of the Air Force after 20 years, but then he joined the reserve and was another 15 years in the reserve. But he would just be away for, fortnights, which is nothing, doesn't compare to 4 months.
It would still be stressful. It doesn't matter what period of time,
it
I think.
No.
It doesn't.
But it didn't have that same impact. I couldn't ever say that impacted my life negatively at all,
Yeah.
Glad for the break.
Oh, don't worry, I used to cheer sometimes too. If it was just fortnightly running, I'd yay. No, fortnightly running was brilliant. Yeah.
Well, mine was only for a period of 2 years, of course, and we weren't married. And I used to write to him every night, and I'd sit in my room. And I remember one night there was a knock on the front doorbell rang, and it was a policeman. And of course, Chicka was in Vietnam, and I went, oh my goodness, they wouldn't have come to me anyway, but they would have gone to his mum.
Worst.
But singing out, Dad, 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 and Dad came, and he was looking for the fellow next door. Thank God. So it was easy, but it was just terrible because I used to get on the bus. I lived at Alexandria, and I'd get on the bus in the morning to go to work, and I'd start crying every morning. I couldn't help myself. And, and that hasn't come to me for all those years, but I'd have to sit up the back of the bus because I'd cry, but anyway. So
And you know what? People in my age are never going to understand because we have phones. I text my friends
No.
throughout the day, every day. I can be connected. I call my mum every single day. You know what I mean? I've got so many points of contact. We've taught my nana how to use her iPad and her phone. So she yesterday she sent a picture of how many steps she'd done in the day, screenshotted it and sent it to us. So,
Wonderful.
you know, and that's something that you guys did not have. No, you had to send a letter and I'm sure it would take a long time to get a reply back.
Yeah, he'd get a pile like this of letters and, you know, but, so that was the only way that we could, you know, I used to write every single day, and I've still got a lot of his letters are up in my wardrobe that he'd sent to me, which, you know, my daughter can get rid of when I kick the bucket.
They're precious.
No, that's precious. That's gorgeous.
Am I allowed to? I'm going to have to say this. I feel guilty. I listened to our Vietnam veterans had no choice. These guys had no choice. They were conscripts. Women like Lynn, the lassies that had met these men, they had no choices. They had to go. It was different for me. And this is why when they say, I only did it for this man of years, please don't, you know what I always say to you, please don't do that, because that was harder. The guys that joined up because that was going to be their career. They joined up, that's what they wanted to do. They weren't forced by the government to go off and serve their country. To me, these ladies, they're the brave ones. Those men were treated so badly when they came back from Vietnam. They were made to feel they'd done something shameful. They should have been welcomed back so proudly. They should never have been sent in the first place. So for me, when I hear any of them say, well, my husband was only a conscript, it's like a red rag to a bull to me, because please don't do that. This is, you had it harder. To me, that's harder. You know, this is, I had that support group. I lived in a Navy patch.
But at least mine was only 2 years, whereas yours is...
I think you're all comparing it. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to live through any of this. I think you've all been through it.
Respect is these, and it wasn't just the men that served in Vietnam. They came back, they'd been dusted with Agent Orange. It affected not just their life, it affected their children. We've had people whose children have passed away, and it's been attributed to these guys were to me, they were heroes. They were heroes, the same as World War I, World War II, Korean Wars, the conflicts. So I'm sorry, that's on a bandwagon from me. That's please don't ever, any of our ladies whose husbands were conscript, be so proud and so looked after and honoured.
Chicka being Chicka, I used to say, it's the only bloody lottery I ever won.
I would have loved Chicka. I would have run away with
and
it.
then,
I tell you.
And then he, you know, they talk about, you know, Vietnam. Nah, you make love, not war.
Oh, good on you. Yeah.
You know, just today is bringing back so much of the things that he used to do, and you know, the things that he used to do and say that is locked away behind your memory, and then something like this brings it out and brings him closer to me again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I'm trying not to cry, honestly.
Oh my God.
Okay. Obviously, for you guys, friendship and community is just beautiful. Like I can tell you, we're all so just interconnected, and you've been friends for what, almost 20 years, some of you. So
only 9 for me, but it's been amazing.
I'm sure it feels like a lifetime, though.
Sometimes it feels longer, I can tell you.
Look, I would love to know how the Families of Veterans Guild, formerly the War Widows Guild, has supported you all over the years.
Oh well, it's it's huge emotional support. The fact that you're not alone, that there's other people doing this with you, and the from practical support, the advocacy, the working to get as much as all the benefits that we deserve. We couldn't do that alone. That's done through the War Widows Guild, and there's sort of that, as I said before, like the family atmosphere, and we all know, if people come in, and some people have been widowed for 20, 30 years, and others of just a few months, and you can see that it's so raw, and you feel for them, and you can understand them, and we get it, and we're there. That's all. We just get it, and we there to support each other, and to get through the journey. And because you've got to get over the isolation. I think I made a conscious decision. I could either stay at home, lock myself up, or I think, to hell with that. No, I'm going to go out and while I'm able to live my life as much as I can without feeling any guilt or things like that. And this enables you to do that, and you have people with, in similar circumstances. So together, we lift each other up. There's that wonderful saying, we rise by lifting others up. And I don't know.
And I think for the staff that we have in the office, our War Widows Guild, I know we're families of veterans, but I still think of myself as war widow. We have, from my point of view now, the support we have from there, and I'm not taking away from the ones that ran it before. We had a few shockers that should never have been there, but we have. I know from my perspective, if I pick a phone up and ring, it's like ringing a friend. It's like that someone reaches out to you, and you know who you can go to. You know who's going to tell you off. You know who's going to cry with you. And it is having that support from educated young women that are running our guild now. We're learning things, apart from maybe we can teach them some good swear words, but
You?
Excuse me, I've taught you a couple of good ones now. There will be a fee later. But we know we're learning that so much with connecting ourselves on the media, connecting ourselves on YouTube, making sure that we stay up with what's happening. That's given us another level of, maybe it will help us live a bit longer, because we know now where to look for things, who to go to. It's very hard to explain it. But it is precious having that.
Well, I think social interaction is vital. As you get our social interaction and emotional interaction, and you learn new skills. Like we're always learning new skills and new things that we can do. And we celebrate anniversaries. We celebrate birthdays. We might go out to lunch, and you form friendships, and you go away on holidays. Together. And all of this sort of thing, and it all comes from there. The holidays and that aren't organised, but people get together and say, "Oh, do you want to go there?" Yes. And we go, Canberra, and to go to the War Memorial, and it's these activities that all help. And I look at, because I have friends outside of War Widows that have also lost their husbands and are alone. And I do think they look on me with a little bit of envy that I have all this support and I have all this going on. And going here and going there, because they are more isolated. And there isn't that support,
Yeah.
which is a shame.
It is a shame, and it's beautiful that you guys have each other to call up on the phone and chat about your day, and
Yes.
if
Yeah,
something
we have
annoying happens, you can
yes.
talk about it because you're all best friends.
And we all
and-
just talking. I said, Sunday's the worst day because,
Oh, yeah.
we miss Sunday because we used to have a barbie or we'd go out.
roast
and then-
dinner.
Yeah, roast
Yeah.
dinner.
Oh,
That's
yes, I love a roast
So
dinner on
we
a
sort
Sunday.
of started this sad Sunday thing, and a group of us, we find a pub that serves the traditional roast, but it has to be the traditional roast. And we go out for a sad Sunday lunch.
It sounds more like a happy Sunday. If
Oh,
you
it
go,
is.
I'm always happy with a roast dinner and a glass of wine.
You don't
And because
drive
we
that day.
don't drive that day, so we can have a couple of.
Oh, is that why we're not driving? So we can have a couple of glasses of Chardonnay.
That's so that's
Oh.
good, and you can say that amongst your group. Whereas,
Yes.
other people don't have that.
Yeah.
We are fortunate that we
Yeah.
have that. We are indeed lucky.
I agree with you. I have friends, civilian friends, and I've got different range of age groups of friendships. But I get now nagged a little bit. Well, why are you going out again today? You're looking tired. Why are you not? And it is this. We do have this lovely situation. If this has come out of awful sorrow, then you take something from that. I still belong to my husband's Submariners group because I'm quite bossy. So on this, I don't do we have a secretary that does that for them. She's also a widow, but I'm their social club. So I can be bossy there because men can't organise themselves. So I hope none of them ever hear this.
I don't think men from any age can organise anything
So they're
properly.
like herding cats. So this for me as well gives me another, just another resource of, making me feel maybe my life's not completely over yet or wasted. So yeah.
And I'm sure, do you think that what makes your bond so strong, do you think that being a war widow is unique compared to a normal friendship because of what bonds you all together?
Yes, I think being as widow of the military is different. The military way of life is different. And I think being the widow of somebody in the military is different, and we have that in common. So, yes, that is a bonding agent.
And there's a pride. There's an absolute pride of,
And
yeah.
we go to commemorations. So that's always good for you as a group. And I don't know whether if I was by myself I would go to all these commemorations, but I do because we go together. And so in that way, you're going to these commemorations and you're acknowledging the past, you're acknowledging their service, but at the same time, you're going forward. You're going forward, but you have that connection to an honour to the past, if you understand what.
Even walking into the AGM yesterday, you sort of it's almost like the old school what do you call them when you have the reunions, and you mightn't have seen a couple of the women for at least a year, but you get you get greeted and you get a lovely hug, and it's a celebration. You're celebrating your whatever our beautiful men and our women that serve, whatever they did, we're celebrating them, but we're also celebrating that we can do this. God knows how, but we can do this.
Yeah, well, it's this balance between you've got to move forward, you've got to get on with your life, but at the same time, you don't want to forget. You still want to honour their service and their sacrifice, and this manages to balance that. Not perfectly, nothing's perfect, but it gives you a good balance.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a more balanced person because of the War Widows, because I can get it more in perspective. I'm not dwelling on my sorrow and my loss. And I hope that I'm a better mother to my son and to my grandchild. And because if you don't want to be, you know, you don't want to be dragging them down with your thoughts, do you? You've got to, but at the same time, I like them to think, you know, that they've still got to honour the memory. But I don't want to live in the past. I want to move forward.
Yes.
While I can still walk, I've got to go.
I find that the guild is what has bound us all together. And if I hadn't joined the guild, none of us, if that wasn't there, where would we be today?
Well, we wouldn't be friends. And,
No.
and we say this quite often, don't we? That we're the great, you know, we're lucky that we've got our friendship, but we didn't really want it.
No.
We didn't want the circumstances. We would rather have a, but if we still had our husbands, we'd be total strangers. And so the only,
and you know, the support that we get. My main aim is looking after the older ladies, which is just dwindling badly. But a perfect example of the guild is that Mary rang me, or I rang her, whatever, and the council sent her a letter to say that she lives on a corner block and she has this gigantic grass verge at the side of, and the council have decided that they're not going to mow it anymore.
What? They can't expect her to do it at 97 years old.
Anyhow, so she said, you know, I don't know what to do really. She said, I've contacted the local member, but I haven't heard anything. I said, don't worry about the local member. They're as useless as tits on a bull. I said, I'll get onto the war widows, right? So I don't get onto them very often, got straight onto them, and they are going to advocate for her if it doesn't, well, with her not being well, who knows? But I certainly will follow it up with her. But that's the support that we get. And I think that's really important. That's what bonds us all together as well.
Absolutely. Even those small things, like you said, mowing a grass area, like helping your friends organise little things like that as you get older.
And
she is beautiful. She really is.
She is.
Can I share Mary's story when I first met her? At the first one I went to at the boutique hotel in Sydney. I'd met Lynn at a friend. It was a friendship line meeting at the Anzac Memorial. Lynn said, "Would you like to help me carry some stuff back to the office in Elizabeth Street?" And we're walking through the park talking. She said, "Would you like to come along to my one? It's the older ladies." So I'm so pleased I did. This beautiful Mary, I sat next to her and we got chatting, and then the next meeting we discussed what we were going to order, and she said, "I don't particularly like the food." I said, "Let's have the pumpkin soup." So I'll shorten it, but we ordered pumpkin soup. So I went and got a straw from the bar and said to Mary, she said, "Oh, you haven't got spoons." So I got a straw. I said, "This might be good for your pumpkin soup." So she's crumbled her bread roll, and we have bread roll on our laps, and she said, "I'll tell you what we do now. Move your handbag first from under your chair, and I'll move mine." And she said, "And you make sure no one's looking, and then you go like this on the." So for me, I fell in love with Mary that day, and I think I sit next to her at all of Lynn's meetings so I can have lunch with Mary.
She just sounds like the most wonderful joy.
She would be absolutely giving you so much cheek. And then I can always remember that when you came to the meeting and you and I were walking back to the station to go home, and you said to me that since Colin had passed away, that was the first time that you've really laughed.
Yeah, because it was only a few months after Cole died. And it was listening. These women that Lynn has looked after were amazing. Their age groups and look at Margaret
Tenner.
Still playing golf in her late 90s. And,
that's brilliant.
You know, they make you realise, don't whinge when something goes wrong. You've got nothing to whinge about. Sunshine, get on with your world.
But Mary, occasionally, when I'll pick Mary up and take her to Lynn's, and we're driving home. As soon as we get home, she said, "Thank you very much." She said to me, "Your car is much nicer than Lynn's." She said, "Don't tell Lynn that." She said, "I tell everybody that your car is better than Lynn's got a Mercedes." I'm like,
She can walk home next time. That's the end of that.
Even Mary's regular cab driver that drops her.
Sam, yeah.
Sam. He'll always say this. She's his girlfriend.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because I wait for her out the front of the
yeah.
club when our meetings are on, just to make sure she's okay. And he, you know, he gives a cheek.
Yeah, and she gives it back. She's just amazing.
She really
She is so funny.
And I'm sure when I can give you guys the recording of this early so you can give it to her to have a listen. I'm sure she'll be cackling away and laughing at all the little things that you guys are saying.
Don't tell Lynn that I like your car.
Oh, no, you'll be in trouble.
She is in trouble. And I have the dog as well. She has the dog when she comes with me.
I've got an old Mazda, so I don't pick up anyone.
Look, you guys have mentioned a few times now the friendship line. What is the friendship line?
Oh, well, it's a call where we make to widows who may be isolated and at home, you know, can't get out and that sort of thing. So I think we make thousands of calls. I don't know. They did mention yesterday how many thousand we make. But yeah, we have a group of, we're given a list of names, and we call them regularly. And since COVID, we've had the same group, and we've developed incredible friendships, with these people on the phone. And you know, you answer the phone, and they know who you are and what you're doing. And but it's a wonderful initiative, and works very well. And
well, I'm sure it can just cheer up anyone having a bad day. You get a phone call from someone that just wants to have a chat, and that can just make such a difference for anyone.
It's getting more and more difficult as well. You know, a lot of them are in care, and it's so hard to get through to them. And that. But you know, I have one of my friendship line ladies. She just turned 100.
100, wow.
Yeah, and anyhow, she belongs to the Bankstown Club, and apparently someone said, "Oh, you know, they're not having any visitors." So I rang head office and they got me in, and I went over to her celebration for their monthly meeting, and then you know, she just came. her and Mary were featured at the 80th commemoration at the Kokoda track. And I'll show you the photo. I've bought the photos. And
you'll have to show me after this.
I'll show you. These two ladies who Mary and Betty. They had never met before, and they just had an instant rapport. They really did. And I have a day at my house, which is Saturday week. And Betty's coming with her daughters, kind of come with her.
That'll be fun.
We have to make sure Mary can get there.
Well, she'll get there.
And I
She
think
goes in the nice car.
yeah,
That's right.
With the dog.
No.
But you're not going to let her
I'm
now.
the bad car with the
No
dog.
dogs in my car.
I think that friendship line. We used to go into the office to do the calls, and again, I got talked into doing it probably 2 months after I joined War Widows. And then when we went into lockdown, we got the same, like Wendy said, the same list. I had 35 and I'm down to 8 now. But you know the joy from getting to know, and you end up, when they can't take the phone calls, if they're living back at home with family, you get to know the son or the daughter. And I'm still in touch with a couple of a niece and a daughter, family members. The mothers died over a year ago, but they still say, just give us a call now and then.
That's wonderful.
And you have this love. You do, like Wendy said, you develop this. It's hard to explain it. It's
a friendship,
I think
really,
we
isn't
get
it?
more out of it than probably they do.
Yes, well, I took a trip up to Forbes to go to meet one of mine, and they had they had their monthly meeting, so took a trip up to Forbes, and that was lovely to meet her. And she says, "Oh, when are you coming up again, Wendy?" And then got one who's 93 or something, lives in this tiny little town between Bathurst and Cowra. And she was on a farm, but she's in this little town now with a few acres, and she still raises cattle and horses and things like that. And I said to her after Christmas, I said, "Oh, how'd you have Christmas?" She said, "I do this every year." She said, "I cook Christmas, and it's open house to anybody in the surrounding district who is on their own for Christmas."
Oh,
that's
are you kidding me?
that is amazing.
People, I said, "How do you know how many are coming?" She said, I don't care. And she cooks Christmas dinner on the 25th of December on a fuel stove.
Oh,
A fuel stove in 2024. And she said, "When are you coming up?" I said, "Well, I am coming up very soon."
Could we do a sad Sunday up there? Would she do a baked dinner for us?
She would.
Okay.
You're going to have to make the trip now, aren't you?
And she said, and then I said, "How was Anzac Day?" "Oh," she said, "Anzac Day was amazing. In this little two-bit town, doesn't even have a pub." I said, "Oh, well, I'll come up and we'll have lunch at the pub." No, we haven't got a pub." I said, "Okay,
wow.
we'll find somewhere else." And this tiny little town, she said, Anzac Day is amazing. She said, everybody is in the parade. All the fellows on horses get all dressed up and they all parade down the street on horses. There's flags, there's bands. She said, you can't park anywhere around.
Wow.
And it's all because of, it's all her initiative to get people to go.
Yeah. These women they're books. There should be another book written based on these ladies' country areas that we read.
Ones are
They're
amazing.
amazing. Their fortitude and their strength and their...
Yeah. And I said to you, "Where do you get the wood for your fuel stove?" "Oh," she said, "in the paddocks in the..."
Oh.
This is, I love it. The determination from these women.
She mows, does her own
God,
mowing.
makes me feel
At
ashamed.
93.
93.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And then, of course, with some of my ladies, one lives with her daughter out the back of Tamworth. Her house was in the floods, and I've always talked to her, and when the floods came, we went right through her house, and she used to knit, and she knitted and sent the little babies' outfits overseas, and she said when the flood went through, all that was there was the plastic containers with the knitting in, that everything was just floating around, and she's never been able to go. So now she lives out the back of Tamworth with her daughter on a property, and it's very difficult to talk to her. So with her, and then there's another lady that lives out the back of Scone, and she's gone into care. So we send them cards. So just to keep in contact every, 2 months or whatever. And Renee's grandmother makes these beautiful cards, and they supply us with the cards. And I just write a little, just writing to let you know that I'm always thinking of you, and always here for you, and do that so that I can keep in contact with these ladies that I can't keep in contact with on the phone anymore.
And if I go away for a few days, I always, I send the cards from. If we go to Moss Vale, I send the cards, and when we went away with Leslie down there, especially if there's something connected to the military. Yeah.
I would love to know from you all, what advice would you give to the younger war widows coming through the organisation now, the women you're meeting?
Well, to give us a try. Grieving is something that is different for everybody. Nothing is right and nothing is wrong, but at least form a group. Be part, and give it a try. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But you don't want to die not knowing, do you? You want to sort of to give it a try and to see if there's any benefits. Sometimes people come and it's just far too raw, and you can see that, and they can't take it. so they go away. But they, you know, then they'll come back again, you know, and yeah. So to reach out and to see the benefits that are there. No one's forcing them. No, and if they don't, if it's not for them, that's fine.
And always be proud and never apologise for tears. Never apologise when it overwhelms you a little bit, but make sure there's always someone special. If it's not a family member, that there's someone you can actually talk to, and you can do this. Women are strong. Sorry, men, we're strong.
Well, I think that's what you realise when on the friendship line, just how stoic these women are, and some of them haven't had husbands for a long time, and you know they've raised children by themselves, and especially the ones in the country have, you know, been on the land and worked on the land, and it's tough. It's tough.
It is tough.
And the ones that when you ring, they say, I can't. One of my ladies, and so I speak to her daughter more than I speak to her now. She always sewed, she always knitted, she made jam, baked, and her biggest sorrow is she cannot do the baking anymore.
Yeah.
So she lives now with her daughter, who is lovely. I've not met them, but you listen to they're the things she misses. This is, for her, it was always about the baking. And the community in these country areas, they have good, strong community support in
they support each
their
other.
farming areas. And you listen and I think, wow, we're spoiled. Our generation are spoiled. We have been. We mightn't have our men, but we're well looked after. And these women, like Wendy said before, Jessie Vasey's starting all of this off. These women didn't have that, and they've still raised their children on their own. Some of them 5 years. They didn't know if their husbands were dead, alive, or they're coming back. 5 years, a couple of months is nothing. You know, a couple of weeks is nothing. You listen to these women and you think, wow, we're in good hands, let me tell you.
And the other thing about the friendship line is that every single person I talk to is so thankful and grateful to the support that they get from this organisation and from Legacy, from the both. Every time they say, "Oh, I'm so glad I've got this gold card." Oh, I said, "Yes, we're very lucky." Oh, I have never ever heard anybody ever complain. It's always
The gratitude.
the gratitude,
Yeah.
that how lucky they are to be so well supported and cared for, and yes, so that's pretty unique.
Yeah. One of the ladies, she died 2 years ago now. She was RAF. She was amongst the women that were doing the tracking of the Catalina flying boats up and down the coastline, and these women don't tell you what they did. Their war service. Some of them, they weren't allowed to go off and fight, but my godfathers, they did more than their share. When you listen to their stories, you think, wow.
Made such an impact as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I moan if my feet are cold of an evening. Then you listen to their stories and you think, oh, come on, princess, get over yourself.
Oh, you guys are just so beautiful. And everything you're saying just makes me smile so much. Look, I could honestly chat with you all day long, and unfortunately, we're going to have to. We're running out a little bit of time, but before we end the podcast, we like to end every episode. It's a little section we call Words on the Board. What I do is I just ask everyone if they've got a little insight or piece of advice that they would like to leave with our listeners. And that can be to do with advice for, other war widows. That could be just advice for people in general. You've lived beautiful, long, happy lives, and I'd love for you to impart some of your knowledge for everyone else listening. So if each of you have something that you want to say.
get out there and live your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a
Don't-
lot of champagne
don't-
still to be drunk in this world.
Don't waste your time on cheap wine. Always go for that.
Yes.
Always go for the better bottle.
Always
Yes,
go for the better
yeah.
bottle.
And treat people with respect. You don't know what they've gone through. You don't know what their life's been. You don't know what this person's suffered or done or not done until you do know. Once you do know, then hunt them down and kill them if they've not been respectful. But don't put that on the board.
No, that's
And I
But
sorry.
it is. It's respect.
And I think don't feel guilty if you go out and enjoy
No.
yourself. Don't feel
No.
guilty.
Yep.
Just treat yourself. Give yourself permission
Yes.
to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to whatever I do. I think should I, like if I want to buy something, if I just to go shopping, you think, oh, can I really afford this?
No,
Or,
forget all that.
and then just so you've just got to sort of, if you've come from a poor background, and then you've had to watch yourself your whole married life. We never lived in the fast lane and now that you're older, it's very difficult to change your ways,
Yeah, I know
and
what
that's
you're
what
saying,
we
yeah.
need
Yeah.
to
do
let
trust.
go, perhaps a bit.
Yes.
You
And
know,
go
Throw
and
away
shop.
those
and
Yes.
as one
Yeah.
of my war widows said, you don't want to be the richest person in the cemetery, do you?
Exactly.
Well, that's never going to happen anyway.
And I can't tell you the graves headstone that Linda picked out for me. This is why I'm not telling them when I'm dead. And I'm arranging my own wake.
and on that, I agree. Never feel guilty for being happy.
No.
And I know your husbands, they would be looking down at you going, do more. Go have fun. Go buy that handbag, have that glass of wine, eat those
Probably.
chocolates and enjoy your life.
Big
And my
boy.
sons do. Yeah, my sons say that to me now.
Good.
They ask, do I need pocket money? And I say, I think I can manage. I'll let you know. But they say the same. Get out there and whatever you're doing, they're proud. Which
Keep
makes
doing
me,
your Sunday lunches.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
That's important.
That's
Keep
Yes.
doing that.
Yeah.
Enjoy your life. That's the
We've
main
got
thing.
the hotel booked out, chosen, haven't we? The Royal at Randwick.
Royal at Randwick's our next one. Because we can
Beautiful.
get the light rail there. We don't have to drive.
No, we don't drive.
It's wonderful. Look, thank you all so much.
Thank
I
you.
honestly am so honoured. This has been the most
Oh.
beautiful experience. This
Thank
means so
you.
much to me.
Thank you for how you've interviewed. I've forgotten what we were doing.
That's just old age.
Oh,
I love you guys.
But
Thank
you
you.
have made us
No.
very welcome and
You
very
have.
comfortable. I was absolutely panicking about today.
No.
I felt I was out of my comfort zone.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
feel like out
happy
of my
that you
depth.
guys were able to make it. And look, for everyone else listening out there, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with more episodes featuring incredible voices and amazing stories.